is Samantha Sawyer, the creator of the Salem series. We're doing a big Q&A video project, actually, which kind of just involves a bunch of questions that you guys have sent us, and we're answering them the best of our ability. There's going to be a couple videos in this series. We got quite a bit of questions, so we're gonna do our best to answer them. So the first question is, how long did it take to develop each character? Basically, I started the series and I created it about 5 or 6 years ago now, and each character took pretty much exactly that long to create. Salem took the longest, just because her design changed so much over the last couple years. Oliver and Petra came a little bit later, but went through quite a bit of character development. It's really important to let the characters kind of develop themselves rather than rushing things, because if you try to rush creating a character, you might end up with a design that you might not like, you might not be happy with. It took quite a bit of time to develop them, but I'm happy with where they ended up, and we might end up making a couple changes to them here and there as we go into full production, but you know what? They kind of develop themselves, so that's really the fun part about designing them and kind of seeing where they go. Let's see, so the next question, does Salem have any other relatives? A mother, perhaps? So Salem right now, from where we are in the series, you can tell that she has an adopted father, which is the Boogeyman, who is played by the amazing Rob Paulsen. We're not really sure at this point in the story if Salem does have any relatives at all. The Boogeyman finds her when she's little and basically just chooses to adopt her. So whether or not she has any living relatives at all, you're gonna have to wait and see on that one. When did you create Salem? So the idea of Salem actually came about when I wanted to create my own comic book series. Back in around 2012, 2013, right around when I started experimenting with conventions and comic books and whatnot, I wanted to do my own story. And so I want to do something about things that I really like. And one of the things that I am obsessed with and I love is cryptids and monsters and, you know, fantasy and all that stuff. But it's kind of turned into its own animated series. So I kind of just let the story flow and become what it is today. When do you think the pilot will be released? So with the pilot, we have a couple things that we're working on right now. Things have been a little quiet in the Salem world for the last couple weeks for a couple reasons. I have been traveling like a madman. I've had 4 or 5 conventions over the last 2 months. It's been a go for me. On the flip side, we haven't been taking a break because we've actually been working on getting a lot of the legal paperwork taken care of and signed and official with an amazing new member of our team that we just can't say who yet, but we are so excited to have on board. Any idea about when the pilot might be? Well, we've been tossing around the possibility of doing a Kickstarter in the summer, which would involve basically getting a lot of help from you guys in order to create the series. This wouldn't be to fund the entire series. We have we have some really big plans going on and some really big ideas for where the show is going and where it's gonna be homed, etc., etc. But in order to bring you guys some more content quickly, such as a fully animated, colored, and everything pilot, we've been kind of throwing around the idea of a possible Kickstarter. Now, animation, of course, takes time, and in order to do the project the full justice that we want to give it, it might take a little bit longer. And of course, animation is expensive too. So I guess if I had to give a rough estimate, it would be really amazing to try and have a pilot before the end of the year, if not by early next year. Creating an animated series and getting it up on the air can take quite a bit of time. It can take about 2 to 3 years to really get a project up and off the ground, from the beginning of pitching to having something on air. You know, it takes time, but if you guys can stick with us, we want to bring you something truly incredible. And we really appreciate all of you guys on board. Just having you guys around and getting to create something like this is truly a magical experience. So thank you so much for joining us. I want to cry sometimes. It's so great. Me and my cousin are actually trying to start an animated show of our own. We're still in school and have legit no idea about where to start. Any tips for us? Thanks, and I love the series. Well, thank you so much. So when you want to create your own animated series, I will definitely not kid you when I say that it is a lot of work. This kind of thing definitely takes a bunch of time, effort, money, time, etc., etc. I think the best thing for you guys, since you're still in school, and for anybody who really doesn't have an idea on where to start, is to really start formulating your idea. Let the characters develop, create your plot, start mapping out different episode ideas, and really letting the characters and the story become what you want it to be. So the best advice I can give you and your cousin and anybody out there who wants to create their own series is to just really take your time, don't rush anything, and give yourself time to develop something. When you're in school, it's a little bit harder to really do anything and put plans in motion just because, you've got school to worry about. And depending on like where you're at in your schooling, whether you're in middle school, high school, or you're finishing up in college, just take the time because you have the time, thankfully. I mean, obviously in between classes, but you have time in order to map out your ideas. And also it's a great time to start asking advice and getting help from other people, because the pitching and the talking to networks, that can come later after you're out of school and you have the time to fully focus on it. Just because it is a lot of work. And when I say it's a lot of work, I mean it. You'll be sleeping, and breathing your series when you want to start putting it into different networks' hands. A really great thing to do as well is to Google what a pitch Bible is. A pitch Bible is basically what you put in the hands of executives and anybody that you want to see your story. It maps out pretty much everything you need to know about your series. The characters, the setting, the plot, the episodes. Start kind of brainstorming what you want to do with your pitch Bible, and then the rest will surely follow after that. I hope that helps. What is Salem's origin? That is actually a question that I'm sure everybody wants to be answered. But what I will definitely tell you is that it is indeed a mystery and it will be solved in the series. But if I were to tell you the actual origin of where Salem comes from, it would give away our entire plot. So for now, all I can say is you have to wait and see. How do you come up with Oliver's design? Also, is he a warlock? So Oliver actually, in some of the first drafts of his character design, he was a wizard. Not a very good one though. Oliver was, in his first version, a traveling wizard that wasn't very good at his job, but he was trying his best. Has since developed and changed and become a photographer, which fits our cryptozoology kind of theme a little bit better than the wizard did. I thought he looked a little bit out of place once we started working on Salem and Petra's designs, and so I took a moment, needed to rein in his design and kind of come up with something a little bit simpler. I kind of just started doodling, and Oliver's current design kind of just happened naturally. It was kind of as if he was just waiting for me to draw the perfect design for him, and it pretty much happened naturally, which I was really excited about. Oliver's design pretty much just came from needing to tone back the wizard and kind of make him a little bit more like a normal boy. What inspired you to make Salem? I guess one of the biggest inspirations for Salem was because in the beginning I wanted to make a comic book. And so my original concept for Salem was that Salem was actually the reason behind why no one could ever get a good picture. She would be the force that kept cryptids a secret. Now, since that original idea, the story's changed quite a bit, and rather than trying to protect and unearth like other cryptids, the story has actually shifted to be about finding out what Salem is. That comes with time and letting a story develop for its own. I definitely do still love the original concept, but I'm really happy with where it's developed. The story, Salem, is all about the monster's perspective of a story. You get to see a bunch of stories about humans and monsters, worlds, etc., etc., but you don't get to see much about a monster that doesn't know what they are. So the last question I'm going to do for this installment is, in which occasions does Salem turn into her cryptid form? So Salem can turn into her cryptid form pretty much whenever she wants. Her human form, or humanoid form, is actually something that's a little bit less natural to her. Basically, Salem can turn into her cryptid form whenever she wants. It's actually a little bit backwards. So Salem is more comfortable in her cryptid form than she is in her human form. She can turn into her human form in order to disguise herself and be able to blend in with humans. In which occasion she can, it can pretty much just be whenever she wants. Salem and the crew, they live in a world very similar to ours. Bad stuff might happen if she gets revealed, you never know. I'm sure if I was a cryptid, I'd be pretty scared to reveal myself to people, you know? So that's it for this round of questions. I've got quite a few to do, so thank you guys so very much. I really appreciate it. If you watch this video and you have a couple questions, feel free to drop them in the comments. We'll be doing a couple of these just so that we can get everyone's questions answered. And we hope to have some more updates for you guys on the Salem series over the next couple weeks. So thank you guys so very much for all your support. Feel free to check us out on all of our social media. I'll go ahead and link it in the bottom and in the video. So hope you guys have a great one. Thank you so much.